This is Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Osdell, virtual for this episode. And Car Con Carne is presented by Alex Ross Art, alexrossart.com. Keep up to date with one of the industry's most celebrated, beloved, respected, imitated, amazing creators on YouTube. Alex is on there every week giving updates from his home studio, doing really cool stuff. Well, here's Alex to tell you all about it.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
Car Con Carne, also sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Experience seamless control over audio and video, lighting, climate, security, and more. Embrace the future of smart living. Embrace it. Give it a nice, firm hug. Your home, your rules. Get a quote by visiting easy-automation.net or actually talk to a human being. Isn't that a lovely idea? 630-730-3728, 630-730-3728. Sunday, January 14th is the deadline, the end of voting in the Chicago Reader's Best of 2023 voting. Car Con Carne, this podcast, nominated for Best Music Podcast in Chicago. And I'd love your support. I put a lot of work into this. Hopefully you get something back. Car Con Carne, the link is on your screen for you to vote. These contests, these online polls usually come down to handfuls of votes. So every vote really does count. I would love your support. The link is on the screen, or if you're just listening, you can check out the link right there in the copy that goes along with this episode. Thank you for your consideration.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
So I'm here joined by Art Alexakis of Everclear. Not going to bury the lead. You are coming to the area twice, 2 nights in a row, January 25th at the Des Plaines Theater, January 26th at the Arcada in St. Charles.
Yeah.
You know how I know you're an optimist? You're coming to Chicago in the dead of January as a touring musician. That's how I know you're a glass half full kind of guy.
That's pretty badass, huh?
It is. I mean, that's punk rock. Yeah, we're going to go to Chicago in the wintertime.
Build the field, they'll come, right?
Exactly.
And it's a rock show. I can't think of hardly any times we've ever been canceled because of weather. We always get in, and we're going to get in a day early just in case, and we'll see.
The last time I saw you play, it was solo. You did the MS Sucks benefit at the Bottom Lounge in Chicago.
I was wearing that hoodie until about an hour, 2 hours ago. I was walking out the door. My wife goes, give me that. That's going in the laundry.
And if it's okay, at some point before we hang up, I want to talk about MS.
Okay.
But not to bury the other lead, there's kind of newish music floating around in the world, and that's
right.
Sing Away, a song you recorded as a solo song 4 or 5 years ago, but you decided to Everclear it up.
We did decide to Everclear it up. We had been working on the riff of that as a big, heavier song, and I just wasn't inspired lyrically for it, right? For quite a few years. So it was one of those, what I call the back pocket songs, in the back pocket until something happens. Because something always does. It always, like, you're like, oh yeah, well, that makes perfect sense now. And when I was making the solo record here in this studio here on the other side of the wall, I was writing songs, but I found an old version of that and started doing it on a finger picking it on a 12 string. I'm like, okay, I dig that. And I had just started writing some lines and lyrics about teen suicide and bullyism and stuff like that, because that issue had happened to my daughter had been bullied, but I had suicidal ideation. Most people have at one point in their life, but kids, because of the internet, it's just been rampant. And my wife gave me this piece. She was bawling. I walk in the bedroom. She gives me her phone and she read this thing about this 9-year-old who had to have a colostomy bag because he had a genetic thing, a family thing. And the kids at school were so cruel to him that he came home, found his dad's gun and killed himself. And I'm like, that's a baby. That's a
Yeah.
baby. That's a baby. It's 9 years old. And even though it hadn't happened to me, I can, if you're a parent, you can, you know that that's got to be the worst thing in the world. I don't
It's
know.
unimaginable.
I
Absolutely
don't know how
unimaginable.
people go on.
Right.
Do you have kids?
I do. And so
Yeah.
the thought of it is, and you have a line in there, didn't you know my job in life is to keep you safe? I mean, that's it.
Keep
It's
you
like,
safe.
that's job number one. If you,
That's it. If I have to get in front of the bus, well, be it. Can I have a cigarette first or a cigar? No? Okay, let's go. I mean, if I'm going out, I want to go out with a little, old school vice that I haven't had for many, many years. But you know, little
Hey,
dope, little sip. Come on, something.
a
No,
little
but
throwback to 1989 or whatever that would be. Yeah.
oh, you want to go farther back than that?
Good.
Yeah, 88. No, I was doing some blackout drunken in that 89. That's when I got sober. Yeah. Yeah.
It
The
is.
good stuff was in the 70s and the early 80s. That was the good stuff.
But yeah, the thought of it is just horrific. And
It's just horrific.
you said it too. As a parent, I'm crystal clear. Like the world is a much scarier place. It's always been scary, but the internet makes it. It's impossible to have your hands or knowledge on everything going on, and the cruelty of people in real life is amplified and made permanent on the internet. And it's terrifying.
You know, being sober, actively sober and in recovery for 4 going on 35 years, anonymity is a big deal to me, right? And I respect people's anonymity. But when people start using anonymity as a weapon and they start doing bots and they start doing, damaging campaigns, and then kids are doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's different than when we were kids. Someone had a problem with you. You met them at the bike rack after school
Right.
and you got it out and it was over. You probably got a black eye, got embarrassed, and it was over. People talked about it for a week or two and it was over. These days, it's vicious, man.
Yeah.
It's just vicious. And I have no compunction, and neither does my wife, about checking in on our daughter's social media. She lost some of her social media because she screwed up in school a couple months ago, but she's earning it back, right? And but it's almost impossible for them not to have social media because even the school is sending stuff to their Instagram. I'm like,
Yeah.
why not send it to the email so I can see it too?
Right.
I think I have an Instagram. I don't know.
I remember one of the times I interviewed you, you said that not everything you write is autobiographical. You like telling stories like Neil Young. I mean, the second I heard this, I'm like, he's not storytelling. This is connected to something, and it was.
Well, this is in that. So there's like basically three types of songs I write. Some are just straight up autobiographical. I'll Buy You a New Life, Father of Mine, songs like that. Then there's songs that certain things have happened in my life, and I put them together and I make an amalgam. I make characters, and that didn't really happen per se, but it kind of did, or could have, or something else. And that would be like Santa Monica, right? And then there's songs I just come up with, like I just write Everything to Everyone, songs like that. But this song will go into that second category, I think, because it's too close to home. It's not autobiographical, but it's really close to home. As a parent, first I get afraid and then I get angry.
Yeah.
I get pissed off and I'm like, you're not fucking with my kid, man. Don't even think about it, please.
You said something that caught my interest.
Excuse
As
my
we
language. I'm sorry.
Oh, please. It's a podcast. It's a beautiful thing. We're not on the radio. You said something that caught my interest as we started talking about Sing Away. Back pocket songs. How many, do you just have an Art Alexakis vaults of potential Everclear songs that are just waiting to be unleashed?
That aren't finished, like riffs or verbal ideas. I've got a few. Here and there, and I break them out every now and then, see if I feel inspired. If I don't feel inspired, it goes back in the back pocket. Not that many right now, to be honest with you. You know, and even though I have them, doesn't mean that's what's coming out next, because I got like 40 guitars in that room, and well, hell, let's go take a look.
Let's take a look.
So we just got done with tour, so that's the guitar. And the ones that are missing was still coming back from tour, and I just bought a brand new Flying V, so I look forward to taking that on this next turn. That'll be coming to Chicago for sure.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm completely nerding out. This is
Yeah. But see all the little bikes? This is what we ride around on tour, right? So, and that one belonged to my tour manager, but it used to belong to my daughter because it's got the little pink basket on it.
Wait, what do you do? Do you have races? What do you do with those?
We just ride around, like if we want to go to if we're at the gig or we're at the bus and we're parked and we want to go to somewhere to get a cup of coffee or something, we don't have to wait for a ride, because when you're in the bus, you're kind of stranded, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the venues are like out there. They're not necessarily right downtown.
Right.
Even if they are, we ride those things around on the sidewalk and just piss people off. It's good times. It really is.
That is amazing.
I got them from Costco. They were like, I bought me one, and my tour manager had one, and all the other guys were like, that looks like fun. Buy one. They're like $300. Okay. And finally, towards the end of the tour, I ordered about 6 of them, and they shipped them all to either our last gig or our second to last gig. And it was like Christmas morning
I bet.
for guys in their 50s. Oh my God, this is so cool. And I'm riding around, and I'm just like, okay, this is what my parents felt like. Yeah. My mom felt like
100%.
just ADHD straight down the line. So we got to do rehearsal, sound check. Anyway.
You mentioned age. One thing that I've always appreciated and admired about you is that you've always been authentically you. Bill Maher said, I know a recent show I saw, that he thinks ageism is one of the last accepted prejudices in America. And I think we see it in music, and I see it in radio for sure, in broadcast media. But you've always been quick to call it out as bullshit. Like, you are who you are.
Well, thank you for saying that. I was 30 when I started Everclear. That's old for a band back in the 90s. That was old. I knew it was going to be my last band. I had a baby coming, my first daughter. I knew I didn't have the wherewithal to screw around anymore. So this was going to be it. This was going to be the last, attempt at the dream. And when we got signed to Capitol 2 or 3 years later, no, it was 92. So 2 years later, we get signed to Capitol. Everyone there was like, I was 32. And they're like, well, we're going to say that you're 25.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, no, you're not. Well, yeah, we are. The president, Gary Gersh, has already signed off on it. I go, I don't care. You want to look at my contract? My contract gives me total creative control over everything. And I go, look, and I told him to his face, I said, look, man, I am really sufficiently good enough at making myself look like an asshole. I don't need your help. I don't need you to help me. And I will forget until my real age, or someone will out me. No, it's not going to happen. I'm 32. The guys in the band are 24. They're 8 years younger than me. Oh, well. Let's go. I did okay. We did okay.
I would say. I can't believe you had the wherewithal and the sense to get creative control back in those days.
That was a good story all on its own. So when so 94, it's ramping up. I got a publishing deal. They're shopping us. We do a showcase in New York. It was horrible. We do one in LA about 2 weeks later, and it was badass. And all these labels that had been sitting like vultures right on, like watching, they
Sure.
all came in. So within 3 days, we had 28 offers on the fax machine because this is before email, right?
Right.
On the fax machine. And bidding war, what you do is you start sending the biggest offers to everybody else, and they come back with bigger offers. And
Sure.
they send those to everybody else. And we did, my manager wanted to do that. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I told you before, I don't want to be in a bidding war. I go, I like the people here and here. Let's go meet with these people. I met with everybody. I know who I liked. And basically, I said, I want this much money. I want this many firm records. I want tour support. I want full mechanicals after we hit 100,000 records, all this stuff. Because being 32, I had seen all my friends in bands
Right.
fail by making stupid mistakes, right? And I learned from those mistakes. I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to navigate those waters. And so I sent that out. We sent that out to everybody, and everyone was like, that's pretty reasonable. This kid knows what he's talking about. Cool. And then I sent another addendum. I said another share. I go, oh yeah, by the way, I get total creative control. I produce my own records. And like 3/4 of the labels just gone. But there's still like 7 labels there. Capital
Right.
was one of them. I'm like, okay, so we can get down to brass tacks. And I met with all those again, and I chose Capital.
And so this activity, I'm assuming, was largely propelled by World of Noise and seeing you as a live band.
World of Noise and just touring and just playing like South by Southwest and
Mhm.
and people just talking. I'm playing new music seminar in New York and call it CMJ Music Marathon and all that stuff. I mean, it just like it was word of mouth. It was people started talking. It was got the publishing deal. They started talking because they knew all the other people, and it was just an organic thing. And someone goes, "Well, God, it happened for you guys really quick." I go, "Not really, dude. I've been playing in bands since I was 16. You know, I've been singing, writing my own songs, and fronting my own band since I was 24. So I got signed at 32. I I owned a record label.
Right.
I had indie bands. Every band has gotten more and more bigger, closer to the carrot. So I mean, in reality, I paid my dues, man. I
For
worked,
sure.
you
Well,
know,
I remember seeing Everclear at Double Door in '94. So that was,
94.
and I mean,
You
I felt
remember
like,
who we played with?
no.
We opened for what's chicks? What's the name of that
Was it,
band?
wait, what? It was Velocity Girl.
Nope.
Nope. Ah,
Nope, no. No, I like Velocity Girl. I like that band. No,
this is a lifetime ago.
what's her name? It was a huge hit. They had a
Just,
huge Stacy, my friend Stacy,
oh, Letters to Cleo.
Letters to Cleo.
Yep. Yep.
We opened for Letters to Cleo, and they had their hit, but even though they were like kind of a local band, they never really got or they were a Boston band.
Yeah.
And uh yeah, and we 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 were ascending. We were ascendant. Let's
My
call it that.
lasting memory of Everclear at that show is I felt like I was hit by a truck after I saw you guys play.
We were fierce, man.
And that was a
We were,
loud room too.
dude, and we were just like, it was like, if I wasn't drenched in sweat from like halfway through the first song, I was phoning it in. And that wasn't happening. We were like, and we were tight as hell too.
Hmm.
Uh, because we were constantly touring, just like we are now.
Right.
We're touring not as much as then, but pretty close to it. We're doing about 100 shows a year, 80 to 100 shows a year.
That's
For
active.
guys our age is incredible. For any band is impressive, you know. There's not bands doing 100 shows a year.
No. As someone who has been making music as long as you have and is still cranking out music today, you grew up in an era of buying albums, putting out albums. Where do you stand on music creation and distribution now? We live in this kind of a la carte era where you could just pop a single out into the world. Is that good? Is it bad? Is it just what it is?
It is what it is. You know, I mean, I saw the writing on the wall when Sean Napster raised his head for the first time. You know, this was going to happen, and the labels kind of screwed themselves at the time by trying to fight it instead of trying to acquiesce to it and co-opt it and make it become a thing. But ultimately, it did. And now the file sharing thing, it sucks because bands don't get paid from it unless you are Taylor Swift or some huge hip hop act that does 100 million or 500 million spins. You're not making money off that stuff,
Right.
but they are. You know, the platforms are. Spotify is. The only of those major platforms that even kind of respectfully pay the artist is, shocker, Apple. And, you know, I know, I know. The other ones, Pandora, Spotify, forget about it, man. It's 0.001%. So it's like when our last record came out, we did free a premiere thing with one of those I forget, it might have been Spotify. I'm not gonna not name them because I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't give a shit, really. But they came out the first week and the album got 2 million spins. 2 million spins. Guess how much I made
Oh,
from it?
I don't want to know, do I?
$600.
Oh shit. I'm laughing
Actually,
because it's so uncomfortable.
it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. How is anybody, forget about getting rich? How is anybody going to support themselves so that they can make more music?
Right.
They don't care. They just don't care.
I
Labels don't care. Signing to a major label, people are like, well, what? Why are you always doing stuff on indie labels? I go, I'm not signed to a major label. I've had offers. I have offers all the time. I don't want to sign to a major label and give them 30% of my publishing and my touring and my VIP and my merch, which is what me and the band live on.
sure.
That's what we live on. It's so doing it the indie way, we all make a good living. All my guys own houses, you know. We all doing well. I'm trying to save enough money because I've got and we're going to talk about it, an autoimmune disease called multiple sclerosis. I could be in a wheelchair in 5 years or next year. I don't know.
So
I'm working very hard not to be, and I feel pretty good most of the time, but I'm 5 years, definitely 5 years away from a cane. I'm pushing that back.
so my friend Kastub organized the MS Sucks benefit, Kastub Pandov, and he was diagnosed, I think, in 2017, probably around the same time
Right.
you were. And I've talked with him at length about MS, and he describes it as an invisible disability because on the outside we don't see what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, the stuff you're going through.
That's accurate to a certain extent. I mean, until it's visible. But if you watch me walk, if you watch me walk to my car, you're gonna go, "Oh, wow, he's got a disability placard. Oh, I seen him walk. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it ain't pretty.
Yeah.
My right side doesn't work as well as my left side. I got to think I'll drop foot so I can trip. if I'm not really careful. I don't wear a guard on my or what do you call it? A thing on my knee or leg yet, but maybe I will someday. I don't use a cane. Um, I'm not in a wheelchair. God bless. I'm still out there doing it, but who knows? So back to the money. So that's where my money's going. Is like
Yeah.
if I get to a place uh where I can't work, I'm kind of screwed, you know? It they don't have pensions for guys like me,
Right.
you
Right.
know? So um end the story. We're just grateful that I get to still do this, me and the band. Because all my guys are in their 50s. A couple guys are right behind me knocking on 60's door. And we're going to go until people don't want to see us anymore.
And so the moral of the story is we should see you at the Des Plaines Theater and at the Arcada. We should buy T-shirts. We should buy vinyl copies of Live at the Whisky A Go Go.
Yes. Let me see. Let me think about it. Yes. That'd be great.
Well, Art, I can't wait to see you. I appreciate you. I always appreciate your candor. And
It's always good to talk to you, man.
I used the word earlier, authenticity. I mean, it's
I
refreshing.
appreciate that. That's important to me.
I
Professionalism, authenticity, uh, being genuine.
yeah,
Those are things that are important to me about not just me, but the people in the world around me, the people that I allow into my world. And you know, I don't have time for the bullshit anymore. You know what I mean?
oh, I do. Well, especially once you cross a certain age threshold, it's like, you know,
The drama, I don't want your drama,
yeah,
man.
I'm out. Yeah,
I
for
got
sure.
teenagers. I get it at home. I have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with you, you know. I mean, that's and we I'm really blessed that of the seven guys that tour with me, the six guys that tour with me, and we're our crew and our band, five of us are sober, and the other two are not heavy drinkers at all. They have a couple beers after a show, you know, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
And it's just, it makes it so much easier. We all get to bed right after the show. We get up early and we go home to our families. That's what we do.
I love that. Art, thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. It was really great.